change that they said.
I tried to set mine for as long as I could, and you still have to keep touch. So,
I'm 2 minutes slow all the time.
Yeah.
That's so weird. That is so weird.
I've got 7 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And will the clerk call a roll, please?
Dr. Ramona Becker,
here.
Guy McDonald,
Here.
Betty Martine,
Here.
Peggy O'Donnell.
Here,
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Wonderful,
we're
thank
getting
you.
an echo.
Yeah, I was going to ask if we'd have a tech. We have looks like we have some lights that are out up here. If we can get those on.
There's an echo.
Those at home, the shadows up here are your city council members. Yeah, well, working on that. I know they're getting a lot of things worked out in there. So, all right. Well, welcome everybody to your regularly scheduled meeting, your first meeting in November already. I know it did not feel like November today, but my calendar says it is. We're going to go ahead and start today's meeting off like we do all meetings with a moment of silent prayer. If you please join me in that. Amen. If you'll now please all rise and join me in the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item before council tonight is to determine a couple of agenda additions that came in, I think on Thursday. And so we have agenda item B and agenda item C. Would accept a motion to add those two items to the agenda, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Martine.
I make a motion to approve adding item B and item C to the agenda under the final actions.
Second?
We have a first and second. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And they are added. Next item up for council to consider is consent agenda, which consists solely of the minutes of our October 20th, 2015 City Council meeting. I would entertain a motion to accept.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve the consent agenda as listed and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second. We have a first and second. Questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It passes. Okay, and next is our appropriations ordinance 15-21 in the amount of $277,779.37.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve appropriations ordinance 15-21.
Second.
We have a first and second. You guys are going too fast for me up here. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And next, this is something exciting. And I see we have our former mayor in the audience here, so welcome. But would like to invite up our newest member of your Bel Aire City Council, and that is Diane Nguyen. If you could join our clerk at the podium over here for the swearing in.
Just have you raise your right hand and just repeat it after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
the ordinances of the City of Bel Aire, Kansas,
the ordinances of the City of Bel Aire, Kansas,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of my position for the City of Bel Aire
and that I will faithfully perform the duties of my position for the City of Bel Aire
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
you.
And while she's signing all of her official paperwork, and we have her nameplate and name tag up here, just want to officially welcome you, Mrs. Wynn, to Bel Aire City Council, and we're excited to have you. So.
No cookies?
So you can take your seat up on the podium now. Thank you.
Christmas open house is coming. Now we have an official full city council before you, so welcome, welcome. Thank you. So with that, we are going to move into two proclamations, which are probably one of my favorite things to do as mayor. Sometimes I get tongue-tied though, but the first one is American Diabetes Month. Whereas in the United States, nearly 24 million people, including 150,000 in Kansas, have diabetes, a serious disease with potentially life-threatening complications, such as heart disease, stroke, blindness, kidney disease, and amputation. And whereas an additional 57 million people in the United States are at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. And whereas 1 out of every 3 children born today will face a future of diabetes if current trends continue. And whereas an increase in community awareness is necessary to put a stop to the diabetes epidemic. Therefore, I, David Austin, Mayor, do hereby proclaim November as American Diabetes Month in the city of Bel Aire, and I call upon all citizens, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to join the American Diabetes Association's movement to confront, fight, and most importantly, stop diabetes. I'll be happy to sign that. And just a quick little note on that, was happy at our fall festival. When I went in, the Lions had a trailer there, and I thought Jackie wanted to stick me, but she handed me to another lady, and then my blood sugar, I get that tested every year, and I want to encourage everybody to do that. So that's something near and dear to my heart. Okay, the next proclamation is November 11th is Veterans Day coming up. To the citizens of Bel Aire, Kansas, greetings. Whereas Veterans Day has its origins in the November 11th, 1918 armistice, which brought, sorry, I've got a glare up here, which brought World War I to a conclusion. And whereas the Allied victory in World War I affirmed the strength of great nations acting together for high purposes, and whereas the people of the United States caused, through their elected representatives, the designating of November 11th as a federal legal holiday, which in 1954 became officially known as Veterans Day. And whereas Veterans Day continues to be celebrated and commemorated with solemn observances in honor of all Americans who have served their country in times of war and conflict. And whereas the courage, honor, sacrifice, and dedication which veterans of the United States Armed Forces have displayed in the cause of justice, freedom, and democracy, and most worthy of recognition now. Therefore, I, David Austin, Mayor, do hereby call upon all citizens to commend American veterans and observe with solemn pride November 11th, 2015 to be celebrated as Veterans Day. So, be happy to sign that. Just, do we have any veterans in the audience tonight? Would you just stand? Will you stand and let us say thank you? Well, Gary, we're going to say thank you. That's Gary Northwall, everybody. We really do appreciate you guys, and I like the campaign I've heard on TV where we put a green light bulb up, just one, so we do thank you for that. We're going to move along to city requested appearances. I do have one in front of me, young man, Caleb Soliday. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Wonderful. If you could come to the podium, state your name, and give us your address, and know that, and we'll give you up to 3 minutes. tell us what you want to tell us.
All right.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. My name is Caleb Soliday. My address is 4451 North Edgemore Court.
Go ahead.
Mayor, City Council members, and viewers at home. I would like to warn you that because of the poor quality of video, I may look more attractive on TV than in real life. Speaking of real life, I am here to talk about a concerning issue to the City of Bel Aire, the broadcasting of City Council Bel Aire workshops. For those at home, a workshop is a meeting between the City Council members that is currently broadcasted on Channel 7. And some members discussed in a meeting in October to get rid of these broadcasts. If these meetings are not broadcasted, it will be a loss to entertainment, one, transparency, and community outreach here in Bel Aire. The first reason we should still broadcast this meeting is for the sheer entertainment of these meetings. We get to see the law and order, dun dun dun, of the city. We get to see characters like Peggy, who is the rule follower, or Ramona Becker, that brings in the dough. Literally, she brought cookies to a meeting. Or the intelligent yet mysterious city attorney, or the young Kim Kardashian of the group, Betty, who wows us with her sass and the eating of sandwiches by licking her fingers every time after a bite. Can't wait to see what Mrs. Wynn has to the table. To add to the entertainment, maybe give the meetings a title like Fresh Council of Bel Aire, Survivor Bel Aire Edition, or Here Comes Honey Boo Boo without the boo boo. Also, props to the graphic department for the American flag without a pole, because I feel like even our flag needs to be free from the grip of a pole. However, this is a serious issue of transparency in our government. We see that every day that our federal government cannot be transparent with its constituents. If we vote to end broadcasting these workshops, you are showing that our own city government cannot be transparent with us. Ramona Becker, you said so yourself twice in one of the meetings that while you guys were talking about city council nominees, you said, why the need for secrecy? I ask you all today, why the need for secrecy? Even if you do not agree with the issue of transparency, we should agree that community outreach is important. And these broadcasts, believe it or not, play an important role to the outreach of the community. If it weren't for the broadcasting of workshops, I would not be here right now. Not that I wouldn't be born, but I would not be here at this city council meeting right now, meeting with people that are not my age in a radius of 300 feet. Also would not be interested in the mayor's youth council that was mentioned several times in one of the workshops. So these broadcasts are more vital to you than what you might think. Please take my entertainment and my seriousness as a plea to vote to keep these broadcasts. That you might think people aren't watching, because we are watching, and we'll vote for the next election based on your actions that are broadcasted every first and last Tuesday of the month on Channel 7. P.S. Please come to the roller musical Xanadu next week at Northeast Magnet next Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for coming here, and I will look forward to your application for the Mayor's Youth Council. That is exciting to those at home to see a youth get excited about an issue. I applaud you for that. You mentioned entertainment, but I do want to let everybody know, workshops are where we really do kind of roll up our sleeves and have a lot of in-depth conversation and discussion many times before it's brought to the council. So appreciate you bringing that today. I'm going to move along here. Citizens' concerns. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council tonight? If not, we're going to move on to reports. For my report, just a couple of items. I met with do want to let everybody know, council and those at home, that today, actually late this afternoon, Chief Daryl Atterbury and I were both contacted by local media to talk about a rash of car break-ins in Bel Aire. I yielded immediately and said this is a police. He can speak on a lot more authority to that than I can. So basically what has happened is we had a couple of days in a row where a number of cars were, what's the official word, where someone who was not
Vandalized?
not vandalized, but what it was, every single car that got broken into during this quote-unquote rash was unlocked. And they were in and out quickly, center console, dashboard, out. And going along and seeing if the cars were unlocked and how many of these were in driveways and out in front of cars. So I say this not to alarm anyone, because we do have police that are on it and looking and watching, but as a reminder to everyone, lock your cars, lock your valuables. We see the signs every time we go into parking garages or malls, because it happens everywhere. It happens in church parking lots. So just a kind of a friendly a reminder to keep and keep valuables out of sight in cars, and just especially as we get into the fall and winter months. This is the other thing that was explained to me, was that it's easier for criminals to grab because they wear baggier clothes and have gloves and aren't suspicious. So that's my little PSA soapbox for everybody. The second item on my report, and we just heard from a young man talk about the Mayor's Youth Council. We also have our Community Development Advisory Committee, who thanks to Diane Wynn joining, our City Council will have one more vacancy, which leaves a number of vacancies on that council. And I'm not going to take away from Mr. Northwall, but we also have an opening now on a tree board. So I would encourage citizens at home who are interested in being involved in any of these to contact us through the website, email, phone, and let us know. You can let staff know at the front desk. You can email any of us or call any of us, and certainly look into that. And that's kind of one of my personal goals, I've said, is to really look at, and Diane and Dr. Becker were both at the meeting where I promised them that this would be a priority in the next several weeks to kind of really get these committees up and rolling. So I think they're doing a fine job with the small number we have, but certainly can use some new numbers. So that's the end of my report. And but before I turn it over to council members, I just again want to officially welcome Council Member Diane Wynn, and welcome you, and kind of baptism by fire here tonight. But I'll be nice. I think I started with Mrs. Martine last time, so we're going to start with Mrs. Becker this time for reports.
I just wanted to thank the Rec Center, Public Works, and Finance for the reports they gave us this month. I was real interested in reading all their good news, and especially that our fall sports participation was up by 11% over this last year. That's great, and congratulations to both of the senior groups for their great participation and involvement. And then, last week I felt kind of bad, or last time we met, I felt kind of bad because I didn't know if I really mentioned all the people that took part in our fall festival as far as groups. And they did that in the Rec Center report, so I'm going to read what they wrote. Which they noted we had a very successful fall festival held on October 17th. An estimated 2,000 folks participated in this year's event, and a big thanks goes out to the Community Development Committee, Bel Aire Seniors, Bel Aire Governing Body, Bel Aire Lions Club, Mark Shelley, Revolution Church, all the vendors that were so good to come, the sponsors and volunteers, and city staff from every department who assisted in this year's event. So I hope that didn't leave anybody out this time. But we did have a wonderful event, and it's so good to see the community pull together like that. And I too want to welcome Diane Wynn to our council. We're very glad to have you. And you have a long history of community service to Bel Aire. And I especially appreciate all the work you did for our recycling program. I haven't seen anybody that has a better recycling program than the city of Bel Aire, and I know that you were responsible for a lot of that work. So thank you very much and welcome. That's all I have, Mayor.
Ms. McDowell?
I attended a tree board meeting last Monday as liaison from council, and our tree board president, Gary Northwall, is here to give us some information, and I will leave that job to him. And I also would like to welcome Diane Wynn to the council, and to further what Dr. Becker has said, my wife has been involved in Sedgwick County for a long time, and she made the statement that this city has the best recycling program of any city in Sedgwick County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I too want to welcome Diane Wynn. We're excited to have you on the council. And we are here if you ever have questions. I don't know if we can answer them or not. We'll try. And I want to just also say ditto to what Dr. Becker said, especially all those reports that were in there. I appreciated that. And I want to thank Caleb for that. That was very nice that you came and took the time. He's actually on the mock trial team at Northeast Magnet, and you can see why Sunrise, we were kind of scared to go up against him. Great attorney. So I appreciate you coming. And I just wanted to say the street repairs, they've almost got your street blocked off again, it looked like, but they don't.
Oh, but I'm good.
But I just want to commend how quickly they are going to get that done on Edgemore again, and just how they have just worked with the citizens. It's been, I've heard from multiple citizens that they've been very nice to help them if they need to get out. So that's a huge undertaking for everybody in the city. So thank you for your patience. And then, Mr. Mayor, once again, I just want to say thank you to all the veterans. You know, when it's just solemn when you think about November 11th, and I just want to thank everyone for their service, and just remember those who are still serving to keep us protected and free. That's the end of my report.
Councilmember Wynn?
Well, my report will be a little bit short, as has been my stint on the board so far, but I do have a couple of things that I would like to say. I was kind of the brunt of the first phase one of the construction. My street was blocked off, and you know, everyone else had to park on various streets, so that was the struggle. But anytime I had a question or asked anything of the construction people, they weren't necessarily superintendents or what have you, it happened. So I think they're great, and the street looks great, and it already has a set of tire tracks out there from one late night young man or woman. The other thing I would like to bring up is that I've been working with the Chamber of Commerce here in Bel Aire. I'm still working, and it's rather new, so it has its ups and it has its downs and things like that. But there is an event planned for November 19th, I believe, is the date. And it is a mixer type meeting, and it will include not only the Bel Aire Chamber, but the Park City Chamber, the Valley Center Chamber, the Mays Chamber, and anybody else we could think of to invite. And you do not have to be a business owner to come. This is more kind of a unifying type of thing for the north end of Sedgwick County. So, and I didn't write down the time. I'll get that to Tristan, and she'll get it on the website, I'm sure.
That's awesome.
Councilmember Martine?
Well, again, I'll just ditto what everybody else said, and welcome Diane Wynn to the council.
And before I turn it over to our city manager, Councilmember Wynn actually reminded me of something that we've had this construction in 3 phases, and we've had lots and lots of praise of how things have been handled. We've had a couple people that called with questions, and I have been so impressed with our staff that have responded to those citizens' concerns. I mean, sometimes within minutes when we look at the timestamp. So, Mr. Lasher, I know our city engineer has been real quick to answer those questions, try to calm those fears, let everybody know, reinforce what was said. I was just really, really impressed with the way our city handled that, notifying and everything. So, but now we'll go and turn it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I have just a couple items. We wanted to let everyone know that we will be closed next Wednesday for Veterans Day, but we'll be open the rest of the week, so it's just Wednesday is the date we'll be closed. And also, Councilmember McDonald had received some calls about the our new entry monument at 45th and Rock on that corner, that it looked like there was some, and I think several of you noticed it, and that there was some iron or deposit that was actually running down there. So we contacted the person that actually made those for us. He came and looked at it, and he said it's actually kind of common. If you drive by, he took care of it. But what happens is that there's natural forming iron pockets in that granite, and then they leak out, and when it's setting up like that, it runs down, and it was actually running onto the concrete. So what they do is they can chisel that pocket out and then epoxy it to stop it. So he actually took care of it for us over the weekend, and so if you drive by now, it looks much better. But that's what happened to that, and so we'll have to watch the other signs too to see if there's any of those natural forming pockets of iron that come up in those. So it's kind of interesting, but it's taken care of now, and
Neat geology lesson.
yeah, had no idea, because Mr. McDonald and I, we were talking, well, maybe there was some kind of metal in there or something, that was causing that rust to come out, and but it's actually a natural forming iron pocket. So that's all I had, Mayor.
Wonderful, thank you. At this point, I'd like to invite veteran Gary Northwall to the podium to give the tree board report.
Anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Gary Northwall. I'm the chairman of the Bel Aire Tree Board. I'm here to let Bel Aire citizens know that as of December 1st of this year, we'll have a vacancy on our 7-member tree board. Because of more pressing obligations, Gary O'Neill will be leaving the board on December 1st. We are all sorry to see Gary leave the board. He's a great guy. For anyone interested in possibly joining the board to fill this vacancy, I just want to give you a little background on the board. We're a 7-member board. We typically meet on the 4th Monday of each month at 7 p.m. in the Senior Center here at City Hall. If anyone's interested in joining and wants to come and meet the members of the board, our next meeting is scheduled for the 23rd of this month. The general purpose of our tree board is to, in conjunction with our Parks Department, assist the city in retaining its Tree City USA status. This status, which is awarded by the Arbor Day Foundation, is a national program that provides direction, technical assistance, and national recognition for urban and community forestry programs across America. This year will be Bel Aire's 20th consecutive year of attaining this status. Yay for us, huh? The tree board's other main project is our Survivor Tree project. The Survivor Tree is an American elm growing near the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. This Survivor Tree survived the bombing of that building on April 19th, 1995. Almost given up for dead, this tree was nursed back to health and is now a symbol of hope and resilience after tragedy. For a number of years, tree board members from Bel Aire have obtained samplings grown from the seeds of this tree and have given them to various people and organizations. For example, we have given trees to the city of Greensburg because of the tornado that destroyed their town, the VA hospital here in Wichita for obvious reasons, Wichita State University because of their plane crash, Botanica because they're a tree organization, and the city of Joplin, Missouri because of the tornado that went through their town. One of our other survivor trees is planted in front of City Hall. You can find more information at the board on the city's website under City Government, Boards and Commissions, and Tree Board. If anyone's interested in joining the board, they can contact myself or any of the city council members, Ty, whomever. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, I just want to thank our tree board for the Tree City USA designation that we get every year in all of our trees. It's just something we can be proud of. I don't think there's too many communities that have done it as many consecutive years as Bel Aire has. I'm almost quite certain of it. So. With that, we're going to move into ordinances, resolutions, and final actions. First item here is consideration of an agreement with Sedgwick County. This is for the funding and operation of the Bel Aire Senior Center at level 1. The Senior Center, once again, is going to receive if this is approved, will receive $18,000 from Sedgwick County for its operations in 2016. This is the identical amount that we received in 2015. So, with that comes with required events where, were met and exceeded, so they're keeping the same funding as last year. And I think Councilmember Becker kind of talked about that with the numbers being good with both of our groups. This agreement identifies the requirements for the senior center that we have to meet to be the level 1 there. I know Jenny and Brian do a great job over there and making sure that we meet the requirements of this grant. So I would entertain a motion, and hopefully we can approve this funding from Sedgwick County for our senior center.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the agreement with Sedgwick County for operation and funding of the Bel Aire Senior Center and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Either one.
Go ahead.
And any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And say, I know at one point it looked like that funding might be in jeopardy, so I'm glad that our county government was able to do that. Next is consideration of Amendment 1 to the KDHE loan agreement, decreasing the amount of the loan to $843,000. Again, this is an amendment that decreases the amount that we owe. I don't know if there's anything that you want to say about that, Mr. Lasher. I know that we have a low interest loan that was at 2.1% from KDHE, and this is for the approximately $535,000. This is sewer improvements that, if they're not done, are going to end up being extremely more costly in the future. So the water funds were used so that we could replace those water meters with the digital technology, as well as upgrade software so they can be monitored and read through a radio read system. I know that's working out pretty well. So the project is complete, and I am happy to report that not all of the funds were expended. Our staff were able to find ways to not need to spend all of that. And I would just say, I want you to find another government agency that doesn't spend all of its, because they're able to get the job done. So therefore, like I said, the loan amount is going to be reduced, from 859 to 843. So, which is why this amendment is before you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Amendment 1 to the KDHE loan agreement. Do you want me to name the amount again, or just?
I think we need
Okay, and authorize the mayor to sign.
I'll second.
I'm going to give that one to Diane. Let's do it. Sorry,
That's
Councilwoman
fine
Becker.
No problem.
For a second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving right along, our consideration of accepting a bid for water and sanitary sewer improvements for Phase 2 of the courtyards at Elk Creek, excuse me. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like we received 6 bids. A couple of, actually 4 of them came in underneath our engineer's estimate. The developer is ready for public infrastructure in this phase. So the courtyards at Elk Creek, like I said, for Phase 2. I know MKEC has completed the engineering and the following bids were here, and it looks like we have a representative from MKEC. If you have any questions tonight, I was going to call him, did you? So,
Mr. Mayor,
yeah.
would he like to explain the difference between, there's quite a bit of $30,000 in these bids.
Jason, I'm putting you on the spot.
No problem. Glad to try to answer. Jason Gish, MKEC. Appreciate the opportunity to work with the city and our developer on this. If you've been over in Elk Creek, I think you'll see that things are happening, and so we're excited about that. I think that's good for the city as well. The disparity that you see is simply some bidders are focused in on key projects, and so the lower numbers there, I'd say those guys were pretty serious about trying to win the work. The others that are up higher, they may have been more interested in something that's happening somewhere else throughout our area. And so that's simply probably as much as what it is as anything when you see differences like that. The good thing is that the guy that's lowest isn't out there all on an island. So if you look there, Meese at least made us feel comfortable that Dutton felt that their number was adequate. So our intention is to request that you would accept their bid, and then we would issue a notice of award and allow the mayor to sign that, and we'll have them out there start moving dirt as soon as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Gish.
Sure.
And do want to let everybody know as well, just remind everybody, the cost of these improvements are going to be spread as special assessments. I always like to remind people that are out there listening to that. So just seeing all the new home construction throughout, just drive down Central Park Avenue and look to your left and to your right, all the way through. It's just, it's really neat to see, and through Elk Creek and all the way out in between Rock and Woodlawn, and then on the other side of Woodlawn. I hope we have a lot more of these coming before us, but would certainly accept a motion to accept one of these bids.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Wynn?
I would like to make the motion that we accept the bid from Dutton Construction at a cost of $62,598 and authorize the mayor to sign all related documents.
Second.
First and second, are there any questions or comments before I call for the vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have that. I have no future issues to bring up. However, I would ask the City Council for an executive session for no more than 15 minutes for attorney-client, and would encourage that we invite in the city attorney and the city manager.
So moved.
Second.
Alrighty. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is 7:39.